Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing today? I hope you're all having a great day. Today, our story is about two men, Mike and Will. One of them has outer beauty but not inner beauty, and the other has inner beauty but not outer beauty. Now, what do you think that will happen and how these two will encounter each other? Follow me through the rest of the story and you will find out. So stay with me and don't go anywhere. Once upon a time in a little town, two friends lived. One of them was named Mike and the other was named Will. They worked for a master, but after some time, the master wanted to leave the country. So he asked them to go. They didn't know what to do. Mike was so disappointed and he said, "We are not going to find another job." But Will was always hopeful. He said, "You'll see, we are going to find a good job." So days passed and passed, and after some time, they found a new master. The master wanted them to work in his garden. But first, he wanted to talk to the two boys. They went to his office. The master was a kind person. He was sitting there and he received them warmly. He looked at the two boys. He asked Will to stay and he asked Mike to go. He told Will, "I've heard that you two work together. Now, can you tell me how was your former master?" Will said, "I can't complain. He was a good man." The master said, "Did you enjoy working there?" He said, "You see, I was a farmer before, but due to pressure of life, I couldn't keep my work and I lost all of my lands. I can't say that I'm happy as I was before, but thanks God, I have a job and I can earn some money." The master liked Will's honesty. Then he said, "I think that you're a good man, and I told your friend that I think you're a nice person. But he said that you're not loyal and you're jealous of people. And he said that you talk about people behind their backs." Will was so surprised, but he said, "Well, I don't know. I don't think that my friend lies, and I can't accuse him of that." He said, "But I can explain. When two people are going to do something wrong, I won't follow them. I don't know. Does it count as disloyalty? And I always look up to people who make progress. I don't know. Does it count as jealousy? And when some people do something wrong and someone asks me whether they did the wrong thing or not, when I'm sure, I tell them, yes, they did. Is it talking behind people? I don't know. But sometimes I think that we do some things that we're not aware of. And other people can tell us about our bad behavior better. So maybe I do some wrong things, but I try my best. And I assure you that if you hire me, I will do my best and I will try to be the best worker that you've ever had." The master was so surprised that he didn't say anything bad behind his colleague. Then he said, "Well, now that you're so honest, can you tell me about Mike's faults?" Will said, "Well, I cannot say anything. He's a good person and he's well liked everywhere. I think that people see something good in him. That's why they like him so much." Do you see how kind and good Will is? Well, the master dismissed Will and he thought to himself, I will hire him for sure. He doesn't have good looks, but he has a beautiful heart. So, next time, he wanted to talk to Mike. What do you think that he will say? It was a test. Well, don't go anywhere and I will tell you what will happen. Alright, my dear Hodhod friends. Now, if you remember, Will didn't say anything bad about his friend. Now, let's see what Mike will do. He went into the office, and the master thought that he's so good looking, and I'm sure that he's good looking inside as well. So he sit there, and the master said, So, how was your last master? Mike said, I see you and I say that the last master was the worst person that I have ever met in my life. You're so good and I know that I will be better off here. The master was so surprised because Will said that their former master was so good. Then he asked another question. So, I was talking to your friend and I said that I think you're a nice person. But your friend said that you're jealous. And he said that you talk behind people's backs. And he said that you're not loyal. Mike was so surprised. He knew that Will was a good man. So why did he say some things like that? He got so angry and said, Will said that? Well, that's because he has always been jealous of me. And you know, when we worked with our former master, he told me that we have to steal his money and run away. But I didn't agree. Now I tell you, sir, it's better for you to not hire someone like him. Because he's so lazy too. He doesn't do the works right. The master was so surprised to see how different their answers to the questions were. So he said, Okay, Mike, I will tell him that. Now, you're dismissed. He went away, and now the master thought to himself that they needed another test to see which one of them can work in the garden. What do you think the next test is? Well, don't go anywhere, sit tight, and I will be back with the rest of the story. So stay with me. Welcome back, my dear friends. Now, if you remember, the master had another test for them. What was the test? Well, he asked both of them to go to the garden and work. And he disguised himself and went to the garden. He was listening to what they were saying. They worked and worked and worked, and suddenly Mike said, I'm so tired. This master is worse than the other. I'm so tired of him, and he pretends to be good. But that's not so. Will said, Remember, Mike, we got this job really hard. Don't nag anymore and start to work. Mike said, But I'm so tired. I can't work anymore. Will smiled and said, Okay, you go take a rest and I will do the works until we get back. Mike was still angry at Will for what he heard. So he asked him, What did the master tell you when you went to his office? Will said, Well, he asked me about you and then he told the whole story. Mike was so surprised. Now he knew that it was a test, but he didn't say anything. He was too proud to admit that he was wrong. So he went to rest. But suddenly, the master came along and said, Now I know which one of you is loyal and which one of you is not. I will hire Will and Mike. You have to go. You talked bad things behind your friend's back. Mike was so upset, and so was Will. You see how kind Will was? With all the bad things that Mike said behind him, but he didn't want him to be jobless. Will said, Master, can you please give him a second chance? He's a good person. and I know that he made a mistake, but please forgive him." The master was so happy to see how kind Will was, and he said, "Okay, I will give him a second chance." And Mike learned his lesson that he should never talk behind people's back. Now, what do you think of today's story? Did you enjoy it? I hope that you did. Now, don't go anywhere, and I'll be back with the morals of the story. Alright, my dear friends, now, what have we learned from this story? This story shows us that we should never talk behind someone's back. Especially, we should never say bad things behind them. Because in that way, God will never like us. And we will be punished for that. Because that's a major sin. And it's not only that. This action can ruin friendships. And the people who talk behind other people's back, and they will never have any friends. Now, my dear Hodhod friends, I know that you never talk behind anyone's back. And I will be here with another story tomorrow. So tune in next time, and I will tell you a wonderful story in this story island. Now, take care of yourselves, and so long!